everyone. I'm Sandy Duncan, Intuitive Medium, and welcome to another episode of Rescue Mediums Behind the Scenes. For anyone unfamiliar, Rescue Mediums was a hit TV series that was filmed from 2006 to 2011 and can still be seen in many countries around the world and on YouTube. Mediums would visit people's homes that were disturbed by spirits and rescue them into the light. Today, we're going to hear some fascinating stories from 4 people who were part of this groundbreaking show. May I introduce to you the lovely Edna Dargy, Director of Research, Michael Lamport, Producer, Writer, Narrator, Jackie Dennison, Rescue Medium, International Medium, and Psychic Artist, and Allison Wynn Ryder, Quirky Medium, Rescue Medium, and author of the 2012 book, The Quirky Medium, The Extraordinary Life of an Unlikely Clairvoyant. Welcome, everybody.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Sandy. A lot of people have asked me, and you've told me this before, Jackie, how do they find their own spirit guide? Because I think you told me to meditate, imagine that you're maybe in a forest or walking down a path and you'll find a gate and you go inside and sit down, and the next person that comes and sits with you, and it takes a while to do this, is your spirit guide, whomever it is. Is that accurate depiction?
Yeah. I mean, there's many ways of doing that, but I go into like a beautiful garden. It's my spiritual garden, and there is a seat in the garden. But there's also the clearing in the forest. That's what you're talking about. It's like going. Yep. That is. It takes a little bit of a while to do that. It gives you more of a focus rather than just going straight into the garden. You know.
Yes.
To be mindful of your footsteps as you're walking through there. It just takes you deeper and deeper into the meditation, and then invite your spirit guide to come and join you so that you can get to know them. And it might just be a feeling you get. It might be an image that pops into your head. It might be even a sense of smell, you know, like smelling flowers, or it could be anything really, or an image that you see, but it's like a daydream, you know, and you have to take time to explore the feelings, the subtle energy changes. That's because your vibrations are lifting. But yeah, that's how I connect to my spirit guides. I meditate every single day, whether I'm working or not. I meditate because it helps me to focus on me as well, you know. And if my guide's got any messages for me or that, like, don't go out today, you know, it's not a good day for you to be going through. And you know, I take note of that. So yeah, we have a great friendship, me and my guides.
I'm glad we're talking about that, because Allison, I was wondering if you could talk about your guardian angels and your angels that you work with in rescues as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have, obviously, everybody has, and these are the type of questions that I get asked a lot. Everybody has a spirit guide, as we've just said, but also everybody has a guardian angel as well. So I have an angel team that I work with, but I just love invoking the archangels, in particular Archangel Michael, who's got me out of some scrapes on Rescue Mediums.
That's not me, by the way.
No, it's not. No,
I'm not the Archangel Michael. I'm just Michael.
You're Michael. And yeah, the one that springs to mind for me, which was, I would actually say for me was the strongest one, being overshadowed by 3 nasty spirits, was in Bath, remember, Jackie? And it took our spirit team, our respective spirit team, and the homeowner, Leanne's spirit guide, to help release these 3 spirits to the light. And obviously they didn't want to go. I think they were quite happy overshadowing me and flinging me around everywhere. And I couldn't speak. And I just remember I just lost control of my mouth. And I remember my lips were, and I couldn't answer or say anything. And I just knew then I had to call on the angels. So I was guided to call on Archangel Michael, and it took a while, and I was thinking, where are you? And then all of a sudden I felt his energy around me, and what I was shown with the most beautiful big white wings that came in, and I just knew then that he was also helping us. But that was so strong. So yeah, everybody has a guardian angel. The archangels themselves, there are so many of them, each of them have their own magical correspondences, so that you know which archangel to call on depending on, you know, what you need assistance with. So Archangel Michael is for protection, for strength, courage, justice, and truth. And you know, when I do spirit rescue, when I've done spirit rescues in the UK after the show, and here in Spain, he is always part of that team that I call on, and Metatron as well. Really strong energies. So,
you know what's interesting, I think too, Alison, Sandy, Edna, and Jackie, is that, I mean, people that are watching this, it's almost like that expression, preaching to the converted. A lot of people that are watching us right now believe in spirit, believe in angels, but there's a pretty significant amount of people that don't believe in it. And as, I mean, I'm not really that psychic, but as a producer of this, I think people should just maybe meditate, let their guard go down, so that they maybe can access this world of people that have gone before them, family, friends, strangers, and also the angels. I think that would be really, especially these days, that would be very, very beneficial, because the world's turned upside down, as we know. And I think that would be very beneficial.
It would. And also grounding as well is, you know, I know I'm a stickler for that with my students here, and I know you are, Jackie, with it's when we meditate, we always ground and align first and then go into the meditation. And that's so important as well, so that you're anchored and, you know, that you're focused, and that your energy is so that's something else that, you know, I think that those who are not sure whether they believe in angels or spirit, even if they don't believe or they are not sure, then I think it's a good thing for everybody to ground and align. And you're right, Michael, with meditation is the key to everything spiritual. But, you know, also being guided by a spiritual tutor as well definitely helps. Some people struggle meditating on their own, and that's one of the things that people say to me. So, but also there are many guided meditations on YouTube, you know, over the internet as well. Yeah. So, but yeah, definitely in this time that we're all in now, perfect time to start, you know, grounding, aligning and meditating for sure. Yeah,
I think it's giving this, you know, all the COVID things that we're going through right now, it is making people look within to where they are, and how they feel about things, and where they are in life, where they're going to go next, what's going to happen next. So meditation is something that you're giving yourself the best present you can, because you're giving yourself time, you know. Yes. And that's so important. And if you don't believe in this, I would just say, you know, don't knock it if you haven't tried it. It's like, you know, try it and see, you know, you might surprise yourself, and you might find that you experience something that you makes you question what's happening, makes you, you know, look into things a little bit more, and that's part of our own spiritual quest, our own journey in life. So yeah, don't knock it until you've tried it.
Exactly.
That's a very, very English expression.
Well, don't knock it.
Yeah, don't knock it unless you've tried it.
Unless you try it.
Yeah, I used to use that expression growing up in Southend-on-Sea. Because because there was a way also of getting out of stuff. Hey, if you haven't tried it, don't knock it.
Exactly.
My teachers never believed me, though.
Edna, I think you had told me before that you used to lead the grounding or the meditation before a rescue or before the episode would start, correct?
That I would always, well, the whole crew, we would always do the grounding and protection before we'd even enter the house at the very beginning. We'd always go through that.
And what were a couple of the exercises that you would do, like one or two things that
Well,
you would
it was
recommend?
very much what we had learned from Jackie and Allison in terms of opening up the chakras and grounding and protecting with a white light and going through all of the steps as they had taught us.
That's great. That's great that everybody did it.
Well, we did that for a reason, a really good reason, because I don't know whether we've discussed this on the behind the scenes. I know we've discussed it, but whether we've done it behind the scenes. One of the episodes that we were doing, now this is an early episode with myself and Christine, and one of the cameramen, Mike, he's a big guy. He was overshadowed by a spirit that we were trying to help. And Christine and I saw this spirit coming towards us, this male spirit, and we thought that, oh great, you know, we're going to get into this. This is going to be an easy one. We're just getting to go straight through that spiritual doorway into the light. But he came towards us and then he did a detour, and he then attached himself to Mike, the cameraman, and he just hit the deck. He just...
Yeah.
No, he hit the deck. And so he hadn't grounded and protected himself on that day. So that was a big lesson for everybody, really, that we have to do this beforehand. So we made sure that the crew were all grounded and protected. So, you know, the roots coming from the soles of your feet, so you feel attached to the ground. And then, you know, putting yourself in a bubble of light, or there was various ways of doing it. I think Mike Andringa, the camera guy we were just talking about, I'm pretty sure he visualized he was in a spacesuit.
Yes, he did.
That was his protection, you know. But everybody had different ways of doing it. It's what suits you, you know, what works for you. But that's something that we always did prior to going into a property. Prior to the rescue in particular, was to make sure that everybody was grounded and protected.
Well, one of the interesting things that you said during the show, Jackie, or you said it to me, is you sort of say, like, how do I protect myself? Well, imagine like holding an umbrella and the white light coming down. Just imagine yourself surrounded by white light. And then one of the things you said, or you could pretend you just put a big condom over yourself.
That's right.
And it's sort of like, oh, okay, it's a bit awkward.
Ultimate protection.
Yes.
It made everybody remember it, though, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Edna, I've got to read this one because I've got to make sure I get it completely right. This is from someone called Sandy, and it's not me. I think Edna is brilliant, so do I. Where did she get her training to find out the history of homes and the people?
Ah, very good question. There was no formal training. I was called into the very first pilot episode, having just retired as a school principal. And I started just looking for information in libraries and archives and so on. And eventually, over the series, I'm completely self-taught and learning from archivists, learning from genealogists, learning from people I met in all the various places that I would have to go to find the research. So no, there wasn't any formal training at all. I just evolved and got better and better at it the more I did it.
And you must have been very open to it, you know, as you said before, being guided to a house that you weren't even sure you were going to go to. And
that's right. I think I've had a lot of spirit help with this as well, just showing me the way always.
Well, I think that's true, but if I may say the other thing about Edna is that she's really, really smart. and she can find stuff and out that it would take me 100 years to find out, because she's anyway. So she does get a lot of spirit help, but also the viewer has to give her credit for what she does.
Absolutely.
Second that. Absolutely. Brilliant.
Way to go, Edna.
I was swinging over to Jackie and Allison. Did you get to see, I know you've seen more of Canada than I have, and I've been here for decades and decades. Did you get to see much of the country when you were filming?
We work so the episodes are back to back, aren't they? So we don't get any time really to see very much because we don't have days. The days off are usually helping with research. Or, you know, we have to go clothes shopping, which sounds like we have to go clothes shopping. We do, because even the clothes that we wear for the show they have to be a particular material so that they are not noisy with the microphones, and we have to not clash with the decor in the place where we're going. So what we would do in advance, we'd say, we would message Edna and we would say to Edna, are there any colours that we need to avoid when we're planning what we're planning to wear for the next episode, or what we're hoping to buy? Are there any patterns that we need to avoid, because we don't want to blend into the wallpaper?
No.
Or we don't want to clash, you know, by wearing two colours that are literally like, oh my god, I can't even watch it because of that. So we do have to go shopping, which is fun, but it can also you know, it takes up your time because we don't have much time. There was an occasion where we did get some time out, Alison, didn't we, for a little while, and our hubbies came over.
Yeah, that was wonderful, because it was because of the timeline. What usually happened is we'd come over for about 3 weeks, obviously do the filming back to back. Then we'd go home to the UK for 2 weeks and then go back to Canada for another 3 weeks, for example. But because the timeline was so tight with the next episode from the one that we'd just done, it wouldn't have been worth well, we wouldn't have been able to go home and come back. We'd probably just get there and then every time to come back. So we thought it was a good idea for our husbands to join us, and we had a meal at the top of the CN Tower, which was amazing. And I was like, you know, when you go to the loo and I'm like, where's our table gone? Because although it moves really slowly, it really confused me, and it doesn't take much to confuse me. But John and I, we went on a trip to Niagara Falls. And then we went in a helicopter over the falls, which was phenomenal. Once I got over the fright, I was holding onto the seat for dear life, not that that could have helped me. But I did enjoy it once I sort of settled down. And then we went on Niagara-on-the-Lake. We went on a wine tasting day.
Yeah.
It was really good. So,
and she didn't take me. You didn't take me. Wine tasting.
You and Steve had gone. You went to a show, I think, didn't? So we did a couple of things together, the four of us, and then you know,
Alison, do you remember? Do you remember when we had the barbecue on the rooftop?
Yes,
And we burned sausages.
Yes, yeah, I do. And we had some guys joining us, didn't we? I can't remember who they were. I think they just popped in, didn't they?
I don't know. I can't.
Enjoying us. And the black sausages.
Black sausages. I know we had photographs taken with these black sausages.
We did. So we did have fun, you know. I mean, you know, if we had a little bit of downtime, which wasn't very often, we always made sure that, you know, we sort of shoved as much into that as we could. Yeah, it was fun times. Yeah, so we didn't. So the answer to that, really, from both of us, is we didn't see much of the country because we were working, you know, back to back 12-hour days. But that was a little bit of the sightseeing time with that. Now, of course, it was lovely seeing our husbands as well. Yeah.
But as you can see, people that are watching this now, there's a lot of work that goes into rescue mediums from everybody involved, and particularly from Jackie and Alison. And like Alison says, we all try to make it fun.
Yes.
You know, like not taking the
mick
pee out or anything, but we try to make it like a sort of a good time. And that goes back, I think, to the previous show that we did here, which is why, for example, the cheers are a really nice ending for a show, because it's corny and it's fun and it's laughter. And I think that that is one of the most significant things, I don't know, to me, like in the world anyway. We should all have fun and laughter.
We should all
and be
laugh.
serious, but
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Here,
I
here.
agree.
Jackie and Alison, there's a question from Carla, and she's saying, when you're describing spirit, can you see them with your eyes, or are you seeing in your mind?
Sorry, can you say that again, Sandy?
Yeah, sure, I'm going to read it. It's from Carla. When you have a spirit with you and you describe them, can you see them with your eyes, or are you seeing them with your mind?
Right, that's a good question, isn't it? You're using all your senses, so sometimes sometimes you can see them, obviously the clairvoyance. Sometimes you can feel or sense them. And obviously everything that we do psychically is because obviously our third eye is strengthened, that's where we will get all the information from. So in that respect, yeah, obviously it's, you know, your mind is sort of taking in the information as well. And one of the questions that I get asked as a medium is, when I've done a reading and I'm getting things that they know that I can't possibly know, and people say, how did you get that? How did you know that? And my answer to that is, I was given the information. Either I've just heard it, or I've seen it, or I've felt it, or I've smelt it. Because as you know, Jackie will say, I know, I mean, we're using all our senses, Jackie, aren't we? And it's sometimes hard to describe what we do because it's so natural to us. You know, I don't think about how I get the information, but it's a really good question so that we can help the viewers to understand how we're receiving the information that we're receiving during the rescues. It's everything all rolled into one.
Yeah, I call it the knowing. You know, when you just know something, whether it's the picture that appears in your mind, as Alison's just said, or whether it's a certain smell or a feel or a voice, that it can even be your own voice. You know, it can be your own voice that you hear saying something, or the words just appear, but it's coming from someone else. That's where the knowing comes in. But I know when we do, particularly when you're working with Spirit Rescue, it's a different vibration when you're working with Spirit Rescue, because it's a heavy vibration, which means that sometimes you can see with the naked eye. How I usually see that is like an energy form. It's like watching mist, you know. You can see a mist and you sort of blink and think, am I seeing that right? Or it's just a shift of energy that's very, very subtle, but you're aware of it. And a lot of the times, I tend to use my hands a lot. I think I was Italian in a previous lifetime. So, but I use my hand chakras to measure the energy, you know, the energy, how high is the energy, how low is the energy, you know, is it like male height, is it female, is it a child, is it an animal? So you're using this here that also gives you that information. It's scanning the energy to find out what information you need to process in order to understand what's being said. But yeah, it's a very good question.
It is. And orbs as well. We've seen orbs with the naked eye, and you know, they move very, very quickly. So again, energy forms. We've also had, do you remember, we've had the shapeshifter one? That was a first for me. I was like, what is going on? It was everywhere. And it's very hard to contain an energy form like that. Well, it's hard to sort of contain.
It is because there isn't a form to it.
Oh, there's no form.
It changes shape, and it moves really, really quickly. The only way to be able to deal with it is to sort of strip it all back to find out where the shape originated, where the memory comes from that has made this energy move in the way that it does. So it's about stripping down layers, and we have to do that an awful lot when we're working with spirit energy in a rescue situation, because you're almost, when you're reading for somebody, of course you get the feedback straight away, you know, it's like, oh, this gentleman here, you know, and he did this and this and this, and you go, oh yeah, that sounds like my, you know, Uncle George or whatever. But when you're working in a rescue situation, you haven't got that feedback, so you've got to work entirely on all of your senses, and what your guide is also telling you at the same time. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it, Alison? You know,
it is very much like a jigsaw puzzle, and you know, trying to find what the full picture is. And then of course, you know, it's a half-hour show and we are there for hours, and sometimes we we could have rescued 2 or 3 spirits, but only one is shown. But from our point of view, well, I can only say from my point of view, but when we've seen the shows, you know, when they're finished, we get a shock. I know I get a shock, because say if it's me being overshadowed, you can't always remember everything that's happened, and you're watching you being overshadowed and what's happening, you're like, my God, I don't remember that. I just don't remember that. Or sometimes we've done maybe 2 rescues, and the one that we felt the most emotion and everything with isn't the one that's shown. And it took me a while to get my head around that, you know, but it's just every single one is amazing. And of course, everything that we do is to help the homeowners, but of course, the stuck spirit as well. And we use everything that we can in our power to communicate with them and help them to send them to the light.
Yeah, I mean, the story has to, you know, going from us doing 2 or 3 different rescues, and then only one being shown, and that's because the editors have to follow a strong storyline.
Oh yeah.
To finish, and only, as you say, Michael will tell you the exact minutes that the show runs for.
Yes.
But there's only it is just under half an hour that fit everything into, you know.
It's 23 minutes and 30 seconds.
There you go.
That's the nature of TV, you know, I mean, but what we're doing now, I think is really good, because we don't really have time limits. Like, we don't have to fit into a commercial situation where somebody's going, like, now we've got to have the General Motors advertisement up or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that this sort of thing can actually be the future of TV. I really do, because I think people are used to this. And I think people find it interesting. I mean, you look at all of the late night show hosts that are doing stuff at home. And I mean, I watch them and I think they're fascinating, because it seems to be more genuine when you see somebody in their living room or their basement or their whatever. So maybe this is the future. Maybe this is, maybe this will be the next phase for rescue mediums, that we get ourselves organized and financed enough to do a few shows that are broadcast like this. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
That would be
And can we
great.
bring our animals in? So Jackie and I can bring our dogs in, and I can bring my 2 cats, and Edna can bring her cat, and you've got a cat. If we can bring, because, you know, they'll join in and they'll, you know, they create the lovely, help to create lovely energy as well. Yeah, we love the animals, don't we?
Maybe we could do remote rescues.
Yeah.
Remote rescues. So maybe, you know, people can write in if they've got a problem. Not to us, because Alison and I are not allowed to know anything
No.
rescue beforehand. You know, contact Michael and Edna if you have something going on in your house that you want us to investigate, that we may be able to investigate remotely.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could try that.
Mhm.
Oh, I
Great
agree.
idea.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do next time for this show is, because you see me touching my ear a lot, I'm going to try to get some tape and tape my
Your earpiece.
my little earplug into my ear, because I don't know who makes these, but I don't think they're designed for the human ear. Maybe cat.
Have we got any more questions, Sandy, before we?
Yes, we do. A lady named Layla. Why are most of the ghost spirits from a long time ago instead of people who have recently passed?
Gosh, that is interesting. Well, you know, I think it's because spirit are saying to us, you know, this one needs to be sorted. It's, you know, it's gone on long enough. And we also have to be very mindful about the permission, you know, the data information as well that's there. But I think that we're just being directed to those places that need help, and have needed help for a long time, really. But we've had spirit come through who are, we have had spirit members who have come through. I think Petrolia was one of the very first episodes that we did, and we had a friend who had passed over, a friend of the homeowner who had passed over, and literally was just letting them know that he was there and that he was okay, and he just wanted to get a message across. So so we have had spirit there that are within this century.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not this century now, but within the last sort of time frame. So we've had grandmothers, great-grandmothers, great-grandfathers,
Yeah.
totally connected to the homeowner as well. But I have worked not just on the show, but off the show. I'm sure Alison has as well, with you know, people who have passed over within the last sort of few years, or whatever the problem was, it just needed resolving.
Yeah.
People are more aware spiritually though now, so they're more open to things than they were. So when they cross over, perhaps they're more aware of where they are, you know. And so, you know, you need to resolve any issues before you pass over. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think some of it as well, you know, just thinking about that, some of the places that we've been to, Jack, and obviously on the show, but also here, I mean, in Spain, and this is how naive I can be sometimes. The last thing I thought that I'd be doing coming to Spain is rescue medium work, but obviously my spirit team had a different idea. And people just contact me like from nowhere, like, and I'm thinking, how do they know? But obviously they're guided to come in. But a lot of them here are where it can be a modern building on old land. And obviously it's to do with the land, which would connect with the spirit, you know, going way back. But a lot of them here are where people have had an extension put on the house. And obviously they've had to dig right down and they've unearthed something. And that's released that energy of a spirit that's, you know, obviously lay dormant for it. It's just really, really strange that so many people have those extensions put on, and that is the answer to why they've got the spirit in the house. And most of them are going way back. So I feel that, you know, on the show as well, there was a case of that, because a lot of them was linked to the land, you know, rather than the actual attached to the homeowner or the house itself.
Yeah, that's true. And what we found in doing the show is that, like you say, Alison, with extensions on the house and everything like that, I mean, people have said, like, oh, how do spirits walk through walls? Well, they don't walk through walls because the walls didn't exist when they were alive.
Yeah.
So for them, it's just, it's okay.
Yeah. They're walking the path they've always walked.
Yeah.
That wall wasn't there. But when people see them, it looks like they're walking through walls.
I know.
Actually, that's a really good one, isn't it?
I've tried walking through walls, but I end up breaking my nose. No, that's serious.
I have a question here from Jessica. Curious about past lives and how we are able to recognize our past family members. Would we know them if they didn't look like their most recent incarnate form?
Oh gosh. Wow. Well, past lives is a whole subject all on its own, isn't it? I'm a past life regression therapist, so this is something that is something I love to do. But we recognise our own soul family, and see, this body that we have is something that we have here. We have to have a physical body, but our personality is our spirit within, and that is what survives the change that we call death. And so we connect with our soul group of people, our soul family, in the spirit world. I call it the Summerlands, but the spirit world, heaven, whatever you want to call it. We connect there in spirit with our soul family, and we can also recognize them. You know, when you see somebody and you say, oh my God, I feel so connected to you. You know, I don't know why. I feel as though I've known you for years. Well, you probably have. You've probably known them for centuries. You know, because you're just reconnecting with the energy that you recognize. So that can be family members, can be friends, and you can have new soul groups that come in as well. But it's a really fascinating subject as well. You know, the fact that we are reborn. One of the questions I get asked is, you know, I really want to. I was close with my grandparents when they were alive. Now they're in spirit. Do you think they've been reborn? Will I ever see them again? You know, so I'm just using that as an example. Well, you know, everyone has their own choice as to how we progress spiritually. But I found in the main, the family groups that are around us now, when we go over, we stay in that same family group until all of them have eventually gone over. Then if you choose to be reborn, you can, or you can just choose to go up the spiritual ladder within the spirit world, but you still can connect with each other, so you will be able to see them again.
I think that subject there, Sandy and Jackie, like regression and stuff like that, I think that would be a great subject for one of our shows here. Because I think personally, I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. We actually did some filming at your place, actually, Michael. We did about past life regression. We did some. Well, I actually regressed. I think
Sam.
Sam. Oh gosh, that was fascinating. Because he thought that he was, in fact, he related the whole thing. He was a Roman soldier, and he was saying about the battles that he was involved with, and he didn't know anything about Roman history himself. And so Edna was with us, and she was transcribing everything that he was saying, and then she went away and researched that. And I think you found the actual battles, didn't you, Edna, from information that he was talking about?
Yes, I could find some really good matches with his experiences. Yeah, that was really profound.
It was profound. It was. It is a fascinating. So you know, if we can find that film footage, if that's film footage,
Yeah.
that would be great to be able to show that.
Yep, I think I've got it in storage. I'll look for it.
Okay.
And I see a dog has shown up.
John must have opened the door and let her out, and she was standing there looking at me going, wow, 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 going in.
Wow.
That's what they do. That's when dogs bark in Spanish. They just go, wow, wow, wow.
Oh, honestly.
Okay.
Okay, well, should we...
I think we should. Do you have any puns for us, Michael, to end the show?
Oh, yeah.
for this show now?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I actually...
Let's round it off with something.
Okay. Well, we saw a dog, right?
We did.
So there was this medieval knight that went into a castle in England, and it was torrential rain, and it was pouring, and it was just horrible. And his horse was very sick, and so the person who owned the castle said, "Well, you know what? You can ride my dog. Take my dog out. It's a big dog." And the knight said, "Come on, you wouldn't send a knight out on a dog like this."
Oh. And how did you do that? Make them up like that and just like almost, oh dear, that's hilarious.
Oh,
Dear.
that was very bad, Michael, but it was very good. And I'm going to say cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Oh, you got a glass, Ali. Yay.
I got a glass. It's still water, but it's a glass. I know Michael doesn't believe me that it's water, but it is.
It looks like pig water.
Cheers, everyone.
Okay, cheers.
And cheers to everyone who wrote in. Thank you very, very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, Andy.
Bye.
Bye.